Hi guys, welcome back to Professor Hank. In this video, we're going to continue our series on Python GUI programming. And in this episode, we're going to see how you can retrieve values from a list box, right? So I'm going to show you how to retrieve one or more values from a list box. And we're going to write a Python program to demonstrate that using Visual Studio. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with that. So this is going to be a tkinter program, so we're going to need to import tkinter. And we're just going to create a list box that has some strings in it, and based on what the user selects, we'll retrieve what is in that list box and build a string display using a message box. So we're going to need then to import tkinter message box, all right? And then we'll wrap all this stuff up inside of a class, as we've done in the previous videos in this series. And all of our GUI stuff is going to go inside of an initializer. And so the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to actually create the main window. So we'll do that by creating a variable, which we'll call main window. And we'll assign to it tkinter.tk. All right, so then we will create our listbox widget. Okay, and so we'll just say self.listbox equals, and we'll instantiate the listbox, and we're going to need to attach the listbox to a container, and in this case it's going to be the main window. So we'll just say self.main window, and then we'll set a height of 0 and a width of 0. Okay. And then from there, we need to pack our list box. And I made a typo up there, so let's fix that. All right, so we're just going to say self.listbox.pack, and we'll put some padding in here. So we'll pad x, say 10. Pad x equals 10, and then pad y equals 5. Okay, now once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and create a list. All right, and that's just going to have the names of some fruits. So let's make a fruit list. Let's make a list of fruits. Okay, so we'll say self.fruits equals, and we'll add an apple, we'll add a banana, we'll add a pear, and how about a strawberry? And I think that'll be enough for our example. Okay, so once we've got that set up, then we're going to need to populate the list box. So let's add the fruits to the list box. Okay, and we're going to need a loop to do that. So for each fruit in the fruits list, in self.fruits, what are we going to do? We're going to say self.listbox.insert and put it at the end of the list box, so tkinter.end, okay, our individual fruit. Okay, so that will fill up the list box, and then from here we are going to make a button that will get the selected item or items, right? I'm going to do two examples. The first example will be just retrieving one item, and then the second example will build on this, and we'll see how we can retrieve multiple items, right? We'll be able to select multiple items and then click the button and then get all of them. All right, so we're going to make that button. So we'll say self.button, and we'll have to instantiate a button object. We'll have to attach that to a container, which is our main window. And then we're going to want to have some text. Okay, so we'll say get fruits. Okay, and then I think I'll break this up onto multiple lines here so that way you can see it. Okay, so we'll get the fruits, and then we're going to need a handler. So we'll say command equals, what should we call that handler? I think we'll just call it get fruits, right? So self.get fruits. Okay, and the double underscore here indicates that that's going to be a private method, which we will write here in just a second. Okay, and now we need to pack our button. Okay, so pack our button. So self.button.pack, and we'll do a little bit of padding just like we did before. Pad x equals 10 and pad y equals 5. And then once we've done that, we'll go ahead and start the main loop, start your engines. So tkinter.main loop. Okay, but we're not done yet because we still have to define our handler. So we'll do that right now. Define get fruits. And this is where the logic is going to happen. This is where we're going to put the logic for handling the button and retrieving the fruits. Okay, so there's going to be a couple things that we're going to need to do here. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll get the index, and we'll see indexes when we build up the example. But for right now, it's just going to be the index of the selected fruit. Okay, so we're going to put that in a variable that we'll call indexes, and we're just going to say self dot listbox dot cur selection. Okay, so what cur selection does is it retrieves a tuple containing the indexes of each selected item in the list box. So again, for this first example, we're only going to select one item, and so this is going to be a tuple that's either going to have one index in it or 0 indexes in it. Okay, and that index will be listed or placed at the very beginning of the tuple. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to check to see if there's anything even selected. Okay, so if the length of that tuple does not equal 0, that means that something was selected. So then what we'll do is we'll call the message box. Okay, and we'll call it show info method, and we'll specify what the message is, and that message will be a string that is in the list box. Okay, so we'll just call self.listbox, and we'll call its get method. Okay, and we'll pass to that get method indexes 0. Okay, because only one item is going to be selected. So the first element of the indexes tuple, that's going to be the index that corresponds to the item in the list box that is selected. And so we'll pass that as an argument to get, and then get will return the string that is that option in the list box, and then we'll put that in our message box. Okay, but if the length is 0, well then we didn't select anything. Okay, so it'll return, cur selection will return an empty tuple if you didn't select anything. So that would mean that its length was 0, and so what we'll do is we'll have the message box just say something like, nothing selected, or something like that. Okay, so message equals nothing selected. Okay, so I think that's just about everything. Okay, so now we just need to go ahead and try it. So we'll do that by instantiating a GUI object. This should be main. Okay. So we'll just say something like G equals GUI. And you're like, well, where did that GUI name come from? Well, remember, very beginning, what do we need in the class? GUI. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it. Okay, and we forgot to do this. Okay, fix that and try one more time. All right, so there you go. So you should be able to see that list box. There you go. So you got apple, banana, pear, strawberry. So you can see I'm clicking on stuff and I'm only able to click on one thing. So if I click on pear and I click get fruits, so then you can see there's the pop-up. There's the message box that shows the pear. Okay, let's try it with an apple. Awesome. Banana, etc. Now let's try and see what happens if we don't select any option. Okay. Okay. So if I just hit get fruits, now you can see there's the else part, or the else part of our if else, right? So nothing was selected, and then if I go back and I say pair, then that works. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to build on our example, right? We now know that we can select one item, retrieve one item. So now what we're going to do is we're going to retrieve multiple items. And so there's a couple things that we have to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an argument to listbox. Okay, so this argument basically says, you know, yeah, I want to be able to select multiple things. Okay, so you know the argument is going to require, it's going to be a keyword argument. Okay, so we're going to have to specify something like this. So select mode equals, and then we'll say tkinter dot browse, okay, or dot extended for this example, dot extended. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is we're going to have to go in here and change up the logic in here a little bit. Okay, so now we're getting the indexes, the index or indexes of the selected fruit. So we're still going to have this test here, but we're going to modify this. We're going to add some code here. So what we have to do is we have to go through and build up a string. So we'll start off by creating a null string that we'll add on to, and then we'll go through the I in indexes, okay, do something. Right now, why? What am I doing here? Okay, so if multiple items are selected in the list box, then cur selection is going to return a tuple that has multiple items, one or more items, right? And so what I want to do is I want to go through every single element of that tuple. And each element is going to contain an index that corresponds to a selected item in the list box, okay? So for each one of those, we're going to do something. And what is that we're going to do? We're going to append the item from the list box, the string from the list box, to our string that we're building up here. So we'll go ahead and we'll say self.listbox.get, and we'll pass to it I. Okay, so that's going to return the string, and then we'll put a little new line character in there too, just so that way everything is on separate lines. Okay, so this is building up our new string. So for example, if I select apple and pear, okay, then this will go through. What will happen is that the tuple that's returned by cur selection will contain the indexes for apple and pear, right? So I think that's 0 and 2, if I remember the positions in the list box correctly. So that 0 and 2 will then appear, be copied to 1 or to I here in turn, and so then we'll pass those back to the get method for the list box, and then it'll just return the string for the apple and then the pear, and then we're just going to append a new line character at each of those respectively. Okay, and then we have to show that new string in our message box. Okay, and I think that should about do it. So let's go ahead and try it. Let's test it. All right, so we've got our list box, right? We still have our nothing selected that pops up if nothing is selected, which is correct. Okay, now what happens if I select just one item? Okay, we get our banana, which is cool. Now here's the big test. Can we select multiple items? If I hold down Control and I click, yes I can. Okay, so then I'll type get fruits. Now you can see there's apple, banana, and pear. So can I unclick something, or can I do it over again? Yes I can. So we'll say strawberry, apple, get fruits, apple, strawberry. Right? If I Control click apple, it goes away. Now I can do my get fruits. Right? If I Control click strawberry, it goes away. Do my get fruits. So success. So that's everything that I've got for you in this video. So it's not too bad, right? You can do this. You can do this. You can do programming in Python. You can do GUI programming in Python. You just have to practice, right? And here we just saw that we just built onto the list box, which we learned about in the last video. So play with it, try things out, see, write your own little throwaway programs just to reinforce in your mind, the concepts, and just to get that extra little bit of practice, right? You learn by programming, and if you don't actually write code yourself or come up with your own ideas or try it on your own, then you aren't really going to learn, all right? So thanks for watching, and if you thought that the video was useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you thought the video sucked, you got the thumbs down button as well. Please consider supporting the channel in various ways. We've got paid memberships with additional perks for as little as 99 cents a month. We got super thanks. You can leave a comment, you can subscribe, you can hit the bell. But most of all, thanks for watching. And if you're a student of mine and you have any questions, as usual, feel free to hit me up on email, stop by my office hours, or log into Zoom and you can talk with me that way, okay? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.